First of all, I'm Kushantha Gunawardana, now in Australia, working as a trainer and consultant for few companies. Especially my area of expertise is cybersecurity, forensic investigation, vulnerability assessments and penetration testing. And also I work as a certified Microsoft trainer and a certified EC Council instructor to conduct some trainings. And during this session, I will use Sinhalese and English both because this is not a sort of a nothing to do with languages, but I want you to well receive what I explain. And first of all, thank you very much for the students who organized this session. I hope it will be helpful for everyone. And if you have any questions, please do ask. I think you can use this chat window during this session. Don't hesitate to ask any question because I'm planning to conduct this session in a two hours duration, but my talking would be mainly focusing on first 1.5 hours, and then next 30 minutes you can ask any questions that you may have, right? So yeah, that's about me. Probably some people would know about me, but some people may not. But doesn't matter, please ask questions. And I'm working in Microsoft 365, Azure technologies, Azure architecture, and cybersecurity, other stuff like I'm conducting training on certified ethical hacker, computer hacking, forensic investigator kind of training. All right, let's start. In this training, in this session, the workshop, we are not going to much information related to technical stuff, but from the request that I have received, I'm going to talk about these areas, right? What is ethical hacking? Probably some people are with, cybersecurity background, or you are working or studying for cybersecurity degrees. එතකොට ඒ degrees කරන අයට සමහරලාට මේවා nothing new, but as a general, since we have I think over 100 participants, I'm trying to balance the technical and non-technical stuff, and also the people who are with software engineering background, networking background, and also cybersecurity background, to give you some information and insights as of what is ethical hacking and how you can do that, and what is the purpose of having these stuff, right? And then the forensic investigation in Sri Lanka, this is not very famous sort of expertise or expertise, area of expertise, but it's there in most of the countries. Then I would like to talk about how to become an ethical hacker, and then forensic investigator, and then what can I do to become ethical hacker or forensic investigation. Sorry, what I can do by being ethical hacker or forensic investigator, and then what are the opportunities today's world, especially with this COVID-19 situation. So these are the areas that I'm going to discuss, and also what are the relevant certificates. මොනවගේ certificates කරොත්ද හොඳ. එතකොට ඔයාලා එක එක degree streams වලින් ඉන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට අපි බලමු මොනවද information ටිකක් related to that. අනිත් එක මොකද්ද professional education එකේ තියෙන importance එක, and then some other tips. And also if you have any questions, please text in the chat window. So then whenever we have time, we can look at those. There was special requests and questions. මේවා මේ ටික නම් මම ඇත්තටම කතා කරන්න හිටපු ඒවට අමතරව there were questions that I received from the organization committee. The people who organize this event, they send these questions to see how to start career in cybersecurity, කොහොමද පටන් ගන්න cybersecurity career, and some of the students are studying for cybersecurity undergrad programs. එතකොට කොහොමද පටන් ගන්න කියන එක, then what are the certificates required, and then how to migrate to Canada, Australia, and these countries, because some of the people hoping and they have sort of a dream to migrate, and then how is the job market, and then how to start, and some people were asking then how I start my career. So since you are interested, I would like to talk a little bit about myself as well, even though I didn't want to talk about it. සමහරු අහලා තිබ්බා මේ කොහොමද මම පටන් ගත්තේ, where I started, because I'm from Galle. I went to Richmond College, so they were asking about that as well. So I'm happy to share this information. And then job opportunities. එතකොට මේ ටික තමයි අපි cover කරන්නේ. එතකොට apart from that, I would like to show you some other stuff as well. Right, so let's start the program. And then today's world, information security is really, really important. Everybody knows about it. And the next thing is, next thing that we would need to understand is, what is security, right? So we need to improve security in all the measures because we are exposed ourselves a lot. Then උදාහරණයක් විදිහට මම ගත්තොත් if you are using iPhone or Android device, even a Windows device, these devices are keep on tracking your movements, right? අපි මුලින්ම මේක ගැන කතා කරොත් දැන් security එක ගැන අපි කතා කරන්න කලින් එතකොට අපි ගැනම චුට්ටක් හිතලා බැලුවොත් සමහරලාට ඔයගොල්ලෝ හිතයි ඉතින් මම කොහෙ ගියා එක කවුරුවත් දැනගත්තාම මොකද කියලා. But it matters because if somebody can see where you go, where you visit, and then your pattern, so it can be vulnerable as well, right? සමහරලාට ඔකට දැන් මුලින්ම තේරෙන එකක් නෑ, but you will understand. Now first thing I would like to show you is in Windows 10 device, most of the users, most of the people, they use Windows 10 devices. මම මේකේ Windows 10 එකේ settings වලට ගියොත් if I go to privacy, මේකේ තියෙනවා diagnostics and feedback කියලා option එකක්. If you ever went there, you would see. එතකොට මේකේ මෙන්න මේ data viewer එක install වෙලා නැහැ. But if you want, you can install it. So if you go ahead and see, then you will understand how much information or personally I've identifiable information some cases. බලුවතින් තේරෙයි මේකේ මගේ exact version එක, මගේ processing එක, එතකොට මගේ applications that I install, application instances, මගේ locational information, මේ ඔක්කොම මගේ මේ device එකෙන් they upload it to Microsoft system, right? එතකොට ඔයගොල්ලන්ට තේරෙනවා every device sending this information out, right? So if you are using Windows 10 device, ඔයාලට ඒක license එකක් ඇති. හැබැයි මේ ටික update කරනවා මේක යවනවා Windows Microsoft website, sorry, Microsoft information gathering centers වලට from our devices. And if you look at your let's say a Google one, if I just show you very quickly, if you search for this one, let me go to Google, right? If I search my activity, right? So if you are using any Android phone, probably you would know this. And if I go to other Google activities, and if I search for Google activities, I have already deliberately මම මේක off කරලා තියෙන්නේ. හැබැයි default setting එක තමයි මම මේක ඔයාලට පෙන්නන්න අවශ්‍ය නිසා එකක් විතරක් on කරලා තියෙනවා 2019 වල. මම September කියන එක click කරොත් මේ හැම දවසකම මගේ movement එක track කරලා තියෙනවා මගේ my activity එකෙන්. එකම දේ මම Android phone එකක් පාවිච්චි කරන එක, අනිත් එක මේ phone එක මම data disable කරත් මේකේ GPS හරහා ඒක track කරනවා. එතකොට හිතන්නකෝ මම මේකේ SIM එකක් දාලා නැහැ. I have not connected to data. හැබැයි මම මේක අරගෙන කොහේ හරි ගිහිල්ලා ඇවිල්ලා ගෙදර Wi-Fi එකට connect වුණොතින් the moment I connected, it uploads all my information to here. එතකොට මේකේ පේනවා මම කොච්චර දුරක් පයින් ගිහිල්ලා තියෙනවද, කොච්චර දුරක් මේ train එකේ ගිහිල්ලා තියෙනවද මෙහි, එතකොට කොච්චර දුරක් වාහනයක ගිහිල්ලා තියෙනවද. So all this information මේකේ වැටලා තියෙනවා every movement. එතකොට අපිට දැන් ඔයාලට තේරෙනවා අපේ privacy එකක් කියන එකක් ගැන ඇත්තටම අපිට කතා කරන්න අමාරුයි කියලා මේ scenario එකේදී. මේක හොඳම examples දෙකක්. I'm not going to spend much time over this, and just to give you an understanding. එතකොට දැන් ඕගොල්ලෝ දැන් අනිත් එක තමයි අපි what are we expect from a security. දැන් අපි ethical hacking ගැන කතා කරන්න කලින් security කියන එක ගැන චුට්ටක් තේරුම් ගන්න ඕනේ. What do you think about security and what is security? එතකොට සමහරවිට මෙතන ඇති participants ලා that you have done cybersecurity or sometimes networking, sometimes software engineering. If I ask this question, මම ඇහුවොතින් what do you mean by security? දැන් මොකක්ද security කියන එකෙන් කියලා කියන්නේ කියලා. ඒතර සමහරු එක එක දේවල් කියන්න පුළුවන්. Protection එක කියන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි ඔක්කොම හිතලා බලන්න දැන් if I ask this question, what do you mean by security? මොකක්ද security කියන එකෙන් expect කරන්නේ? දැන් අපි උදාහරණයක් විදිහට ගත්තොත් just forget about cyber security for a minute. And if you look at your own security, then ලංකාවේ ගොඩක් වෙලාවට අපි security guardsලා පාවිච්චි කරනවා, security companies පාවිච්චි කරනවා අපේ තියෙන premises එක ආරක්ෂා කරගන්න. And also remember cyber security start from there. become a cyber security කියලා කියන්නේ internet related කියලා විතරක් අපිට නවත්තන්න බෑ. That's the reason we need to start multi layer or layered security. ඒත් එකම අපි කියනවා defense of depth කියලා. depth එක කොච්චර layers ගණනක් අපි secure කරගන්නවද කියන එක. ඒක පටන් ගන්න physical security එකෙන්. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයාලා ඇතුල් වෙන දැන් ඔයාලා වැඩ කරන ඔයාලගේ යුනිවර්සිටි එකට ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඇතුල් වෙන්නේ ගේට්ටුවක් හරහා. එතකොට එතන ඉන්නවා security එකෙන්. එතකොට එතන ඉඳලාම මේ security matters. හරිද? මම කියන දේ තේරෙනවා ඇති. මම හිතන්නේ ගොඩාක් මෙතන කට්ටිය ඉන්න නිසා අපිට two way communication එකක් දාගන්න බෑ. But still if you have any questions please you can ask or you can just type it, then I would like to answer to your questions. එතකොට security කියලා කියන්නේ අපි මේ security කියන එක mainly explain කරනවා in cyber security. I'm not going to go into any technical stuff, but since you are undergrads, I would like to talk about this. So there are three major elements in security: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. I'm trying to explain you what is ethical hacking first. So confidentiality, integrity, availability කියලා තුනෙන් තමයි, these are the main three elements of security. එතකොට confidentiality කියන එක confidentiality කියලා කියන්නේ to maintain the the access, the permission. දැන් අපි ගත්තොත් ඔයාලගේ යුනිවර්සිටි එකට ඇතුල් වෙන්න දෙන්නේ දැන් මෙහෙම එකක් කියමුකෝ. දැන් මුලින්ම අපි හිතුවකින් දැන් ඇත්තටම ඔයාලගේ security එකේ මොනවද කරන්නේ ඔයාලගේ යුනිවර්සිටි එකේ. ගොඩක් වෙලාට කියන කතාවක් තමයි ඒගොල්ලෝ මුකුත් කරන්නේ නැහැ. ඒගොල්ලෝ එක්ක වාඩි වෙලා ඉන්නවා, එක්ක හිටගෙන ඉන්නවා, එක්ක ඔහේ ඉඳගෙන ඉන්නවා, කරන දේක් පේන්නේ නැහැ කියලා. So that's what happened to security. එතකොට ඒ system එක protect වෙලා තියෙනකන්, ඒක ආරක්ෂාකාරීව තියෙනකන් කාටවත් තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ importance of security. දැන් ගොඩක් වෙලාවට ලංකාවේ ගත්තොත් අපි හිතමුකෝ security companies තියෙන offer කරන. එතකොට ගොඩක් වෙලාවට අපි cost cutting කරනකොට මේ දැන් COVID-19 වලදී අපි හිතනවා අපේ තියෙන expenses අඩු කරගන්න ඕනේ කියලා. එතකොට ප්‍රධානම එකක් තමයි security service එක අයින් කරමු. මොකද ඒගොල්ලෝ මුකුත් වැඩක් කරන්නේ නැහැ. ඒගොල්ලෝ නිකන් ඔහේ ඉන්නවා, වාඩි වෙලා ඉන්නවා, හිටගෙන ඉන්නවා, එච්චරයි කියලා. මොකද දැන් අපි දැන් අතුගාන ක්ලීනින් කරන ලේඩි කෙනෙක් වුණත් අපි දකින්න මොන හරි කරනවා. ටී හදන එක්කෙනා කරනවා. හැබැයි security එකේ පේන්නේ නැහැ. හැබැයි ඒකත් explain කරනවා මේකෙන්. දැන් confidentiality කියලා කියන්නේ දැන් හිතන්න අපේ system එකක්. දැන් හැමෝම දන්නවා අපිට username එකක් password එකක් තියෙනවා. එතකොට what it does is actually now username, what we would do is by username we provide our identity. So I can say I'm Kushantha, the Nipun can say Nipun, or Nadisha can say I'm Nadisha. Then අපි identify කරගන්න පුළුවන්. This is known as identification. අනිත් එක තමයි මේ අපි cyber security වලට කතා කරන concepts ලෝකේ ඒ දවස්වල නම් තියුණා. අපේ රජ කාලීටම තිබ්බා. අපි දැන් ගත්තොත් එක පැත්තක ඉඳලා තව තැනකට යනකොට අපිට තියුණා මුරපදයක් කියලා. ඒක දන්නව නම් විතරයි රුහුණු රටේ ඉඳලා මායා රටට එන්න දෙන්නේ. ඒ වගේම තමයි අපි මේ identity එක අද බලාගන්නේ. දැන් අපි system එකට username එකක් දානකොට ඒක තමයි identification කියලා කියන්නේ. හැබැයි මම දැන් කුෂාන්ත කියලා කියනකොට දැන් ඔයාලටත් කියන්න පුළුවන් මමත් කුෂාන්ත කියලා. To verify that, always systems challenge you with your password. So then once you enter username, then you need to enter the password. This is known as verification. This is verification. Then identification and verification together form something called authenticity. Authentication කියලා කියන්නේ authentication. එතකොට යා authenticated කෙනෙක් වෙනවා. හැබැයි authenticate වුණා පළියට දැන් හිතන්න ඔයාලගේ system එකට ඔයගොල්ලෝ log වුණාම authenticate වෙච්ච පළියට ඔයාලට හැම එකම access කරන්න බෑ. ඔයාලට දෙන්නේ least permission එකක්. ඒ කියන්නේ තමන්ගේ වැඩේ කරගන්න විතරක් අවශ්‍ය access එක තමයි දෙන්නේ. That is actually known as authorization. Authorize කියලා කියන්නේ ඒකට. Authorization. ඒ authorization එක කරන්නේ system එකෙම configure කරලා තියෙන authorized එකක්. ඒ කියන්නේ තමන්ට අවශ්‍ය ටික විතරයි access කරන්න පුළුවන්. හිතන්නකෝ senior manager කෙනෙක් නම් he would have more access. junior manager කෙනෙක් නම් එයාලට lesser access දෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ junior intern කෙනෙක් නම් ඒගොල්ලන්ට පොඩ්ඩක් read only විතරක් දෙනවා. ඒක තමයි අර level of access කියලා කියන්නේ. That is authorization. There were some questions මේක රෙකෝඩ් කරන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා. That's fine. මම නෙමෙයි ඇත්තටම මේක organize කරේ our organizing committee but I started recording. Don't worry. I will share this record after this session, right? Don't worry about it. I will assure that I will share this recording with you. All right. So that is authorization. එතකොට මේ authorization එකත් එක්ක තමයි මේ confidentiality කියන එක වෙන්නේ. එතකොට දැන් ඔයාලගේ security කට්ටිය නිකන්ම ඉන්නවා කියලා හිතුවට ඇත්තට මෙයාලා කරන්නේ unauthorized access නවත්තනවා. දැන් ඔයාලගේ යුනිවර්සිටි එකට කැම්පස් එකට හැමෝටම යන්න දෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඔය එයාලා දන්න යුනිවර්සිටි ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස් ලට ස්ටාෆ් එකට විතරයි යන්න දෙන්නේ. That is authorization. එතකොට ඒක තමයි confidentiality කියලා කියන්නේ. එතකොට අපි මේක ගැන ගොඩාක් ලොකු කතාවකට යන්න නැතුව ඉන්න මොකද තව ගොඩක් දේවල් කතා කරන්න තියෙන නිසා integrity කියලා කියන්නේ trustworthiness of data. දැන් හිතන්නකෝ ඔයාලගේ කැම්පස් එකේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ Friday වැඩ කරලා යනකොට ඒ තියුණු විදියටම Monday තියෙන්න ඕනේ. ඔයගොල්ලන්ට අවශ්‍ය නැහැ ඒ machines ටික නැති වෙලා මොන හරි ඔයගොල්ලෝ කර කර හිටපු දේවල් vanish වෙලා තියෙන්න. That is integrity, right? And availability කියලා කියන්නේ it should be or resources should be available for you to access as and when required. ඒ කියලා කියන්නේ ඔයාලට අවශ්‍ය වෙලාවට ඒක access කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒතර මේ තුන තමයි build කරන්නේ security කියන concept එක. Confidentiality, integrity, availability. There are two other elements. I'm not going to talk about those because we have very limited time, but we need to understand that. ඒතර confidentiality, integrity, availability තුන improve කරන එක තමයි security කියලා කියන්නේ. හැබැයි මෙතනදී තියෙනවා information warfare කියලා එකක්. දැන් information warfare කියලා කියන්නේ දැන් අපි war එකක් ගමුකෝ ලංකාවෙත් එක කාලයක් war එකක් තිබ්බා. ඒකෙදි front දෙකක් තිබ්බා. මතකයිනේ එක පැත්තක army එක ඉන්නවා අනිත් පැත්තේ අපි හිතමු terroristලා ඉන්නවා කියලා අපි හිතමුකෝ. මෙන්න මේ front දෙක අතර මම ඒක පොඩක් පේන්න ලියන්නම්. මේ පැත්තේ ඉන්නවා terroristලා. එතන මේ front දෙක අතර හැමතිස්සෙම war එකක් වෙනවා. මෙන්න මේ area එකට කියනවා අපි very much vulnerable area එකක් කියලා. දැන් අපේ IT systems වලත් ඒ වගේ buffer zone එකක් අපි build කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒකට අපි කියනවා perimeter network එක. එහෙම නැත්නම් demilitarized zone එක කියලා. perimeter network එක. එතකොට උදාහරණයක් විදිහට ගත්තොත් මේ අය එන්නේ මේ හරියට විතරයි, මෙතනින් අය මෙතනට විතරයි. කවුරුත් මේ කට්ටිය මෙතනට එන්නේ නැහැ, මේ කට්ටිය මෙතනට එන්නේ නැහැ. reason එක that is really vulnerable area. එතකොට එහෙම එකක් තියෙනවා මෙන්න මේකෙදි. අනිත් අතට මේගොල්ලෝ පාවිච්චි කරන දේවල් ගත්තාම army would use the weapons, the training, the facilities that they have. terrorists ලා ගත්තොත් ඒගොල්ලොන්ට similar weapons තියෙන්න පුළුවන්, similar tools තියෙන්න පුළුවන්, similar experience තියෙන්න පුළුවන්, similar training එකක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකට ගත්තොත් මේ දෙපැත්තටම අපි ගත්තොත් සමාන capabilities තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. I'm just building up hypothetical case. ඒක මොකුත් හිතන්න එපා මම කියන දේ, but yeah. All right. So okay, but yeah, there was a person, he doesn't understand Sinhalese. Sorry for that. And I will continue my discussion in English. And if anybody don't understand, I hope everybody understand. But if you don't get anything, please let me know. All right. Thanks for sharing this, Hampton. Right. Sorry for, if you didn't understand that. All right. So what I was trying to say is there are two fronts. Now, when it comes to security, I was trying to explain the two fronts of a war. One front, and both fronts are, or both armies would use similar kind of practice, the capabilities, the tools, the weapons, and everything. But only difference is, what difference is their intention, what they want to do, what their goals are, what are their goals are. Then when it comes to cybersecurity, that is also the same. When it comes to cybersecurity, we have white hats. White hats are the cybersecurity professionals who would try to improve security. And on the other hand, we have attackers, right? Or black hats. They are trying to break the system. So we have these two fronts, and then they are trying to, win in this game. That is known as information warfare. Information warfare is that. So then white hats are white collars, also known as white collars. They are very much capable people who are trying to protect the environments or infrastructure, whereas black hats are trying to break them. So that is the warfare we have. So during this war, both parties would use similar kind of knowledge, practice, tools, right? Now, what is ethical hacking is trying to see what others would see. Now, for an example, let's say you have a system here, right? And then you have IT security staff or white hats to look after the system and protect the system. This is known as defensive security, right? So as a network engineers or software engineers, you are trying to protect the system. But in the same time, whenever you place this system in the real zone or real implementation, probably there can be a bunch of other people trying to break the system. So these are black hats for different intentions, right? So then what you want to do now, you have set of IT security professionals here. So they are trying to protect the system. And at the same time, there are certain other people who are trying to break it. But if you are trying to, improve your system, you have some sort of limitations where you will have limited time, limited, the tools and all that. But on the other hand, these guys, attackers, time is not limited for them. So if they want to, they can spend hours and hours try to break it, right? So then, and sometimes if you are working as a team, your thinking pattern becomes, very similar, right? So then companies would want someone external, right? Mostly someone external to look, work like attacker, but is not an attacker. What they want to do is they just try to see what they can see from the system and try to perform some attacks, simulate some attacks, and try to find any vulnerabilities on the system and then share this information with internal people. So that's what ethical hacking does. Same ethical hacking also would known as penetration testing. Penetration testing and ethical hacking are same, right? So I hope you understand this part. So now, in order to become this guy, that's what I was explaining. What are the capabilities that you would need, and what are the things that you need to learn? So that's what an ethical hacker, and then let's see what they would need in order to become an ethical hacker, right? And then now, if you look at any attack, so I just want to explain this part as well. If you want to launch an attack, right? An attack. So in order to launch a successful attack, there are three things required. First thing is vulnerability, right? Other one is exploit. The next one is motivation, right? Any attack, it can be very smaller attack to very large scale attack. In order to launch successful attack, there should be a vulnerability, exploit, and motivation. So what is vulnerability? Vulnerability is existence of weakness. I will show you one thing, right? So let's say we have a website. So this website can have number of vulnerabilities. So there are so many vulnerabilities in websites. So if you look at, let me just take you through the, I hope now this is enough of the technical stuff and the conceptual stuff. I would like to just take you through here. Now let's say now vulnerability is existence of weakness. There are so many vulnerabilities. If you go into OWASP top 10, OWASP is Open Web Application Security Project. So if you go in there, you would see large number of top 10 vulnerabilities that website can have. Injection vulnerabilities, broken authentication, sensitive data exposure. So those are vulnerabilities, right? So vulnerabilities are weaknesses. Weakness can be operating system weakness, right? So now let's say, now we all know Windows 2009 is now deprecated, not deprecated actually. Microsoft has stopped releasing updates to Windows 2003. But if you look at, I would like to show you one thing. Let's say Census. If you go to this website, so this website is a very interesting one where you can find out internet connected devices, right? So let's go and search for Windows 2003 with RDP. RDP is a remote desktop protocol. I just want to show you one sort of demonstration. So Windows 2003 devices. So we know Windows 2003 devices are now sort of obsolete. No more Microsoft is releasing any update. So it can be vulnerable, right? So even if you look at that, there are 12 million results, which means I can see 12 million devices are still connected to internet with Windows 2003. If you want to look at this one, let me just copy this IP. And then if I start my MSTSC RDP, if I paste this, and if I try to connect it, you would see I can sort of, try to access this server. It's Windows 2003, right? So I told you Windows 2003 server is vulnerable, but still we have 12,000 servers. It can be different scenarios where some applications doesn't support a 64-bit version. So still our clients can have Windows 2003 server. So then it can be vulnerable. So vulnerability is existence of weakness, right? And also I would like to show you now. Let's say the first one is here injections. There are so many types of different types of injections. I will show you one to understand this. There can be so many vulnerabilities in our websites, and these are different scopes. So by becoming an ethical hacker, you would need to have your scope. Let's say you have a network background. So we have our students from networking. So then their scope is networking. So then they can become ethical hackers or penetration testers in networking. And if you are software engineers, so then you can become an ethical hacker or penetration testers in web applications. Now, if I search for this one, let's say in URL, admin login, PHP. So there are a number of login pages I can find out. Let's say this one. Hopefully this is not Indian one. So these, it seems now this is, we can try whether these injection attacks are possible. I'm just trying to, little demonstrate and just, just don't use this for, real-time stuff. But I just want to have an understanding. So that's the reason I'm going to use it. Let's say we'll do a small injection to see whether it works. So these just for educational demonstration. So just don't, let me type admin and just I'm pasting the one I just copied. You would see I can go into this admin panel, right? So this admin, and let's go to some other one, which is prominent one. Let's go here. Let's try admin, and I'm going to paste the same thing. You would see now I'm inside this website, right? So which means now if I want to, I can change this stuff because this site is vulnerable. It's nothing to do with the other, you can change it pretty much. So it's admission information. If now this is admin panel. So just imagine an attacker go inside these websites, they can do whatever they would want to because this site is vulnerable. I hope you understand this part, right? So let me just go into one more thing. Let's go here. So you would see it's like, professional looking website, but still those sites can be damn vulnerable. So you would see you can change the password if I want. I can upload files, manage users if I want to. I can create users just because I'm going to log off. So these are vulnerable, which means this is vulnerable. So just I just want to show you is our discussion is vulnerabilities. So there is an existence of vulnerabilities. Now exploit is in order to penetrate this, right? So to penetrate this, what is the defined way of penetrating? Right, so there were some questions to explain vulnerability more. I would love to explain. So that is actually, so these websites are having backend database. So we are sending queries. Now just since you are interested, I'm just, let's say, let's go to this site for an example. So this, a Joomla website. If I go to view page source, if I search for action, I can find out, I think I can, if I just little bit bigger. So you have module to insert username right here and the password, right? So what will happen is whenever you enter username and password and press enter, it's being dumped into already designed a query. So by sending an SQL injection, what I did was I manipulated this total query, right? So if you remember, what I did was this one. So here, what I did was this OR gate, I created this part is same, 1 equal 1. So then I just, by manipulating this one, I could overcome this, bypass this, right? So, but I just show you this, the objective of showing this is to give you a bit of understanding what can happen to our systems if this is vulnerable, right? So then by becoming an ethical hacker, you are given consent, which means approval to conduct this kind of assessment over known infrastructure, or their infrastructure. Let's say we have a company A, right? So let's say this is company A. Sorry, my pen is not working. Sorry. A. So company A has a website. So this is website, your hosted website here, right? And then what they want to do is they hire an external consultant. There can be penetration testers, internal people as well. But the thing is, whenever you are an internal person, your sort of areas that you can use or the tools that you can use can become limited. Let's say, for example, you are working for a bank. So then if you are working for a banking IT or security team, the tools that you can use within the infrastructure is limited. They would say, okay, you can use this tool, and this tool. You can use NISAs, you can use, a core impact, but you can't use other than that. But what about an attacker? So if you have an attacker here, this guy would use anything. It's something very similar to our military and terrorists. Military has a code of conduct. They have guidelines. They can't do whatever they want to. But terrorists, they can do anything they want to, right? That is the difference. And they can use any kind of a weapon, right? So if you are in a war, if you are an army, government army, you can't use all the weapons in the world. There are certain weapons, when you shoot, it will generate, it will send, for example, chemical. As an army, you can't use it, but terrorists, they don't have any rule. So that is the same situation in cybersecurity as well. So attackers, they would use pretty much any tool, and the timing, it's no timing or no schedule, not 24/7 or 5 days per week. But IT security professionals, us, we work for 8 days, right? But not the others. Attackers, they can spend 24/7 targeting something. They invest a time a lot, right? So then company would want to hire a person here to check or act like hacker. So this person is known as ethical hacker. I hope you understand now. So this guy would launch similar kind of attacks, tools, or whatever they would want to within the scope, and then they will generate, instead of just even if they compromise the system, they would generate a report, and then they will produce the report with recommendation, right? Recommendation. So then once you scan the system, so there are number of things to do within 2 hours. It's really hard to sort of go through it. I hope more than the technical stuff for you, there are very important areas to discuss. So that's the reason I just quickly show you, to give you sort of hands-on understanding of how it would work. I just want to show you this one. And then this guy will generate a report with recommendation and send it to the customer. Then customer can use the recommendations to fix their infrastructure. That's what usually ethical hacker would do. And then when it comes to security, security is not a single time implementation. It's an ongoing process. Now today, your server can be secure, but it doesn't mean by tomorrow it's secure too, right? Let's say when you are using 2007 3 server, or when you are using 2008 R2, or I'm not saying only operating system can be vulnerable. Even your configuration can be vulnerable. Even your practice can be vulnerable. The certificate that you install in the server can be vulnerable. So many vulnerabilities. And also there can be vulnerability in your physical access, the vulnerability in your password, the vulnerability in your algorithm, anything. So that's the reason it's a huge area, right? So it's a huge area. And also remember, if you are in any background, Let's say you can be a software engineering background, you can be in a software engineering background, you can be in a networking background. Don't worry, because you know these vulnerability assessment or penetration testing can be in any scope. It can be in a networking, it can be in a perimeter networking, it can be in a websites, it can be in external websites, internal websites, anything pretty much, right? So then don't worry about the field that you are in now. Only thing is you need to build set of skills to become penetration tester or ethical hacker. All right. So the next thing is you may already attached to a degree program. You are working for a academic program, and you are attached to academic program. And whatever you learn during any academic program, I'm not talking about universities, it can be state universities, so it can be private universities, that's fine. But wherever the university, it can be an Australian university, but wherever you learn your degree, you're talking about fundamentals and concepts. You are learning concepts. But when you come out of the university, that's the reason you would need to go through industrial training, because even though you know the concept, you are not ready to work, because in real environment, not the same thing, right? So probably you would learn so many conceptual stuff, but now best example is our developers or the software engineers. Probably you have some people here who are working as of now as a part-time developers, so they would know. You would learn software development life cycle, but how many projects are we really applying software development life cycle, right? That's really classic example. So but when it comes to work, you would work in a completely different way. Even our networking guys, you would learn about TCP IP, ISP, ISO 7 layers, application layer to physical layer, and all that. But are we going to use this in a real environment? No, mostly no. But your conceptual knowledge is really, really important to understand the concepts and to apply to any product. It can be Cisco, it can be Palo Alto, it can be anything, right? Because every product uses this concept. So I'm not saying your university education is not worth, it's extremely worth. But along with that, you need to have hands-on and professional education as well, right? So there was another question, is that ethical hacker mean like a gray hacker? No, there are three main hacker groups: white hackers, white hats, black hats, and gray. White hats are mainly security professionals. They're trying to, protect their systems, defend their networks, and strengthen networks, harden their networks. Black hats are bad guys. They're trying to break them. Gray hats are time to time with the purpose they can work as a black hat or they can work as a white hat as well. They have the knowledge, so that is the difference. So I'm just trying to answer your question, right? So now we know what is vulnerability, sorry, ethical hacking is kind of white hat. Yeah, exactly. So it's not entirely white hat, because white hats are security professionals who are trying to improve your system, right? So in a way you are correct. It's like, gray in the sense when it comes to hacking methods. So we have multiple phases, starting off with information gathering, scanning, gaining access. So likewise, so ethical hacker also would go through these layers, but they will not sort of damage anything, but they will simulate the attack and respond or reply or report to the client. That's what they do. So these are ethical hackers. But my advice for you to become ethical hackers, right? So to become ethical hackers, learn concepts. That's really important. That's what you do in your degree programs. And in the same time, try to gain knowledge. I mean, systematic knowledge. There are two types of knowledge. One is systematic knowledge. Other one is irregular knowledge, just you understand by doing something. But you would need some systematic knowledge before you start your career or start your what do you call this, your journey in cybersecurity or ethical hacking. You need to have some systematic knowledge. So that's what professional qualification does. So Give me 1 minute. There was a question: how can we overcome from the attack while developing a website? What are the yeah, this we have to consider, right? Yeah. So since you asked this question, number one is developers should have this security knowledge. That's what I personally see. I think you understand from these the demonstrations. I can show you so many stuff, but just to give you, because our audience is different, you are coming from different backgrounds, so I don't want to show something very technical. So first thing is developers should need this security knowledge. Most of the companies, they don't have that. They just develop whatever they would want to. But when it comes to develop a secure website, what you can do is your developer should be knowledgeable in security, and also you can use some of engines like for an example updated proprietary or non-proprietary or open source a content management system if you are developing, because those are very well tested for various security aspects. But again, even if you use WordPress or Joomla for an example, when the time goes, you need to maintain and update it properly, because otherwise what will happen is today secure website can be vulnerable tomorrow, so you need to maintain that. So the other one is so the question is another question is asking how you can get practical knowledge while following the degree. One thing you can do is just following professional qualification along with this your academic qualification, because when it comes to professional training plan as a 50-50, not 100% the what you call conceptual knowledge. So we will be talking about 50% of the time, and other 50% we will be perform demonstration and testing, right? So it's a good suggestion. Our organization committee says that we'll answer the questions later. I think that's good, because otherwise my flow will interrupted. Guys, please ask questions in the chat window. I will come to questions after 1.5 hour session, then I will come to that. All right, so now you understand what is ethical hacking. So there we use number of tools. I would like to show you one tool, which this one is actually paid version, a paid one known as Checkpoint. Using this tool, we can conduct vulnerability assessment. Then again, don't think vulnerability assessment or penetration testing or mainly becoming an ethical hacker is automated thing, or just by using this tool you can scan it, then you are done, something like that. So for an example, if I search for let's say one of these one of the testing that I have performed, so it gives me information related to vulnerability. So it says this much of vulnerabilities exist in the system, right? But it doesn't mean just buying a software and run this and then you can become an ethical hacker. No, there are so many false positives and false negatives. False positives are, our tool says there is a vulnerability, but you need to verify this manually, otherwise it can be a false positive, which means it says if there is a vulnerability, but when you manually test it, you will find no, it's not a vulnerability, right? And sometimes our software wouldn't say anything. It says no, there is no vulnerability, but there can be vulnerability. Those are false negatives. Because of that, we need to verify these properly, even if you use this kind of a tool, right? And then again, there is another one now. Now there's a question earlier. I don't know who's writing on this this one. Probably it can sort of disturb others as well. So I just suggest you not to do that, right? So and yeah, all right, because otherwise to remove it, I will have to spend from your time. All right, so then if I start, then that will disturb my sort of flow, and it's in the same time, I will erase it, and it will sort of waste your time. So this Kali Linux, you can use this. This is one of the very important tools to learn if you need something hands-on. That you can. There are so many tutorials, and even I whenever I have time, I try to post some information related to that. So you can download this from internet. So this Kali Linux comes with heaps of information, heaps of tools. So these tools can be used to test environment. And also remember, in order to conduct any assessment, before you conduct any assessment, if you are conducting it for for someone's infrastructure, you need to have written consent, right? Written consent, right? So written consent in the sense you need to have a written approval to conduct testing, right? So if I show you this one, so in order to conduct penetration testing on this server, you need to get a written consent, or known as consent, or known as letter of engagement, right? So this should be there with you before you start with a proper scope. And your testing should be within the focus area. If you go out of it, it will not become ethical anymore. Then you will become only a hacker. And so use that. So if you use this one, so there are a number of tools available. You can launch multiple stuff. I can, I will show you very small demo. So there is a tool called secure the tool is social engineering toolkit. So I'm going to use this one just to show you this one, right? So you can download Kali Linux by just Googling and just search for Kali Linux VMware. So Kali Linux download, you can download this tool, right? Kali Linux. Here, if you go to downloads, you can download this one. But I would recommend, so here you can download installer ISO, but I would recommend you to search for Kali Linux VMware download. Because if you download ISO, you need to install it from the beginning. Then what will happen is sometimes there can be certain tools that would need further configurations, then it wouldn't work properly. So download VMware Workstation 1, then you can install VMware VMware Player or something, then you can start working, right? So this is the one I just want to show you. Now let's say let's say this one. So People's Bank, everybody knows. So using this one, one can create a phishing attack. I'm just going to copy this one. Let me just search my IP address. I think my IP address is, sorry. Yeah, this is the one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run SC toolkit. Sorry, I think I already started this one. So this one. So I'm going to say social engineering toolkit, website attack vectors, credential harvesting, site cloner. So by using this one, I can clone the site. So don't worry about this one. I'm just going to paste the URL, paste this URL and press enter. It can generate the clone site, right? Now what I'm going to do is, instead of this URL, I can type the IP. Now you would see it has created another copy of the same website. This is known as phishing attack. Our cybersecurity guys would know. And then you would see this is the real site. By my tool, it has created the fake site. And then if you receive this link instead of this link, if you enter your banking information, let's say I'm going to enter very lengthy password 9348, and if I try to log in, you would see it'll come to the real site. But if you go in the attackers window, you would see the username and password being received by the attacker. So that is known as phishing attack. So there are so many attacks that you can do, even password attacks. If you go to Kali, there are here you have password attacks, wireless hacking, exploitations, so many stuff. So just to give you an understanding, so you can just try out by yourself, but just following a proper course or proper certification would be always helpful to become penetration tester or vulnerability assessment VAPT tester, right, or ethical hacker, right? So these are the just to in general. And then I explained earlier, now when it comes to security, we have defensive security, so safeguard our security. So that is fallen under cybersecurity. right? So then most of our cybersecurity students would plan to become cybersecurity analysts, right? So then that is defensive security. The next one is offensive security. Offensive security learn you or teach you how to hack mainly. The reason is to become an ethical hackers or penetration testers. I hope you understand these two, right? So first part is defensive security. Security. Other one is offensive security. Offensive security, right? So defensive security, you can become a security professional. Security professional. Offensive, you can become an ethical hacker, right? And the next one is, even if you secure your infrastructure as much as possible, still there can be attacks, because there is a area known as 0 days. Now I showed you, in order to successfully launch an attack, there should be a vulnerability, exploit, and a motivation, right? So now the next one is, if vulnerability is not there, you can't launch an attack until there is a vulnerability. And attackers can even create vulnerabilities using different mechanisms, right? Now let's see if there is a vulnerability, and then if there is no vulnerability, we never know. Probably tomorrow there will be a vulnerability, right? So if that happens, there can be attacks, right? So the other part of this discussion is a forensic investigator. This guy is the responsibilities if there is an attack. So we are trying to protect our system, but if there is an attack, this guy would try to trace it back and find out who has done it, right? It's not just to finding a person responsible, but it just to find the finding out digital evidences. Digital evidences. This is really, really important if you need to become a forensic investigator. So you need to find an attacker with evidence which can be admissible in the court of courts. Why I'm saying that? Because there can be text files. Probably you may produce as a evidence, right? So you can find this evidence. You know what is evidence, right? Sakshi කියලා කියන්නේ. So evidence. So when you find an evidence, it should be admissible in the courts. So court should accept this as a evidence. So simple text file they wouldn't accept as a evidence. There are certain ways that you can manage or manage before you produce this to the court. Now, for an example, let's say that my laptop is an evidence. Now there are ways that they can seize my laptop, and then there is something called SOP, standard operational procedure, that they need to follow in order to seize my device or take my device into custody. And then when it comes to analyzing, they should need to follow set of guidelines, because otherwise the evidences that they will acquire will not be accepted in the law. So that's what happened. So you need to produce the evidence in an admissible way in front of courts. That is what forensic investigators does. So for an example, let's say if you find a laptop, a computer, if you find a hard disk as evidence, we will never conduct a vulnerability assessment with the original device or original hard drive. Instead, what we would do is we create a copy of the hard drive using a technique known as, and also the tool known as write blocker. Write blocker. Why we use write blocker? Because we would want to transfer data, but without creating any impact over the drive, right? Because if you create anything, it will not be admissible in front of courts. Even you can't change simple date format. Or if you now just imagine, even if you access a hard drive, it can create a lot of temporary files, and it can change so many files, modified date. So then it will not be admissible in the courts in some cases. So because of that, we have to transfer this. This transfer is known as bit-to-bit transfer or bitstream copy. Why we take bitstream copy? The reason is if you take bitstream copy, even you can data recover the hard drive. Probably, let's say this is a hard drive, and they may have deleted some files, right? And in the same time, we can't use original hard drive to investigate, right? So because of that, you can create bitstream copy, and then you can recover. So this will copy bit by bit transfer to the new hard drive, and then you can use this drive to recover data and find out evidences, right? So I hope I'm just giving you some thoughts because we have limited time today. So then there is a standard operational procedure in terms of acquiring, seizing, transferring data, and analyzing and acquiring information. So that's what forensic investigator does. So as of now, what I did was I took you through some of the information related to forensic, ethical hackers, and then ethical hackers, and also forensic investigator. So I hope you understand pretty much the area. Let's go and have a look. What are the areas that we want to discuss next? So the next one, now you know by now what is ethical hacking and why ethical hacking is required. The reason is we need to know how much we are secure, because without testing we wouldn't know whether we are secure or not. And then why forensic investigation is required, because if something goes wrong, something happens, if there is an incident, right? If there is an incident, then you need to conduct an assessment. And this cannot be done if you have not prepared for it. So because of that, each and every company need to have a professional in order to conduct penetration testing, especially organizations like police, military. When I was in Sri Lanka, I was working with these entities for different training, especially, right? And also, now I hope you understand first 4 parts. The next one is, what can I do by becoming ethical hacker or forensic investigator? So you can do a lot. And also, guys, please don't focus your objective only to get a job, right? It's a really wrong intention and objective. So most of our university the students in universities, you have very short sight, right? Including myself, because I'm from University of Colombo School of Computing. I did my master's there. So even we were thinking just to finish this degree and get a job. It shouldn't be your objective. It can be your short term probably, but you need to have a long term objective as well, right? So what you would want to do is just go for something that make you happy, because if you start doing something will not make you happy, it's no point of doing it. Then you will be I guess you have seen some people Monday morning they are going to work like going to die, right? So they just really not very happy to go to work, and then they are counting until Friday, right? So if you start that kind of a work, it wouldn't make you happy. You will get money, but it will not make you happy. So because of that, have a very good objective, and then don't just try to become only a developer for software developers or just a software engineer. So we can do much more than that. So sometimes you can become a software engineer in Sri Lanka, but there are so many other requirements in the world, right? And you can cater from there. And I would like to just, since we are we have limited time, I would like to just connect to other stuff as well. So now, while you're doing that, if you are, security, if you are interested in security, you need to start somewhere. So then you can start by self-studying in some cases. And there are certain courses and certificates that you can try out. Now, each and every certificate, that again, professional certificate would need some investment. And even I started doing my first professional education while I'm working as an intern, right? So I got very small what do you call the payment. It's like Yeah, so it's a very small payment, but I spent that for study and get a certificate, professional qualification. So it's a really small allowance. So I think in 2000, I think 2002. So I attached to one of the organization in Sri Lanka as a junior systems administrator just after my undergrad program. And then using 3,000 rupees, I register for multiple Microsoft certificates, and I got my first MCAC, Microsoft Certified Solutions, at that time, systems engineer. Uh, in this, in the first 6 months within my internship, I became, a certified systems engineer as well at that time. But now the certificate tracks are changed in Microsoft, so you can start them. So some courses are really expensive. I accept that, but still, if you really want to do that, you can do that, right? And the next thing is, when it comes to cybersecurity, there are so many courses, right? But my advice is just to find what you think you are good at, right? Software engineers, you can think of secure programming training. So for example, EC Council offers Java, EC Council certified secure programmer. That is really interesting and important, because our developers and systems software engineers develop so many software, but they have no idea about security. So then what will happen? What can happen? I showed you by just showing you very small demonstration. And since we don't have time, I don't, I can't show you much, but there are so many stuff that you can do for the applications and the websites developed by untrained developers for security. I'm not saying that they can't develop, they can. That's why they have done. But if you don't have such understanding, then if you don't understand the security first posture, then you will not, practice secure coding. So then the website that you develop can vulnerable as well, and it can be very easy target for attacker. Okay, and then there are number of certificates, right? So probably our networking guys, you may have started your Cisco certificates. So you can do Cisco, and in the same time you can focus on security in the routers and switches, right? So you can do Cisco CCNA with security, right? And if you're looking at Microsoft training nowadays, we don't have Microsoft certified solutions engineer anymore. Now we have Microsoft certified solutions expert and solutions associate. All right, so those are really important stuff to do. Just don't think by your only objective is just after degree getting a job. No, because just imagine, just think about your university, think about your batch, right? So your friends, I know, and I was being to many universities as a student, as a lecturer, and I was working with them. I know them, right? And you have really nice and good friends in your batch. But believe me, when you go out of the university, you will become competitors each other, right? So just imagine your batch, you have 50 people. End of your degree program, everybody will receive the same degree, right? There are certain differences by classes, first class, second upper, and all that. But apart from that, everybody has pretty much same degree, right? The knowledge level should be, if you look at the degree program, should be similar. So then let's say if there is a vacancy and everybody send your CV for the vacancy advertisement or vacancy, who
Calendar, now okay.
Sir, we can't hear you because I think microphone is muted.
All right, can you now? I think yes.
Yes, sir.
All right, thanks. All right, so what I was trying to say is, now since everybody is receiving same degree, end of the day, and if there is an requirement of the advertisement, what will happen is when you send or forward your CV, everybody will have only pretty much same the qualification. But apart from that, anybody has a professional certificate would give you additional marks or additional consideration, especially if you have a professional qualification. And if you become Microsoft certified solutions engineer, solutions expert, so then it will be heavily, recognized, because it's not that you have taken degree from an university, but the vendor itself, Microsoft certified, you are capable of handling this infrastructure. The difference between professional certificates and academic certifications are, once you complete your professional certification, you are ready to start your work from the next day, right? It's not like academic education, but academic education is extremely important to understand concepts and all that. So that's the reason I believe in Sri Lanka and all the other countries, degree is not something that, not something that you can use to get a job. But in order to grow you in your career ladder, it can be, or it may be a requirement. Sometimes I know some of my students, they are not be able to become a manager because they don't have a degree. They are very qualified professionally, but they can't do that. So then what I'm saying is, both academic and professional are equally important. So I hope you can see my screen as well, right? So then that is one thing I want to show you. And then if you're looking at certificates, there are so many entities offers a cybersecurity certificate, right? And also I have seen, especially most of the degree programs, they say that we are this degree is something to do with cybersecurity. And when I go through the content, what I notice is most of the universities programs that they claim that they are conducting cybersecurity, but actually they are not training people for cybersecurity, because they train again people for some concepts and some of the fundamental stuff, but not real hands-on stuff. So again, even though you complete your degree, you are not ready to take up a responsibility as a professional. So because of that, it's really important to obtain a professional qualification. It can be certified ethical hacker, CEH, or it can be CISSP, certified information security professional. For that, you need to have 5 years experience. So because of that, just after university, or when you are in the university, you can't take that the exam. But there are some other professional qualifications like CompTIA and Microsoft and Cisco. So there are so many paths you can select, right? And then once you certify for these kind of a professional certificates, what will happen is your value goes up. That's what you want to do, right? So just go to this website, and then you can see this by yourself. Just go to pay scale, right? So if you search for pay scale cybersecurity, for an example, so it would show you how much you can earn by becoming a cybersecurity professional, right? So here, so average cybersecurity analyst in Australia, average is 76,000. So 76,000 is annual salary. You need to divide it by 12 in order to find out the exact salary. And then again, it can be even go up to 110K, 110,000 Australian dollars. But that depends on the experience, the number of years, the skill set, and the qualification, and all that, right? And also, if you want to, you can search for let's say pay scale, let's say by certificate. Just go ahead and see this one. Let's say certified ethical hacker, for an example, right? CEH, CEH, certificate ethical hacker. If I search for it, then you can find out how much you can earn by becoming a certified ethical hacker, and you can select the country as well, right? So then this gives you an understanding about how much you can earn in other ways. And there is another question is how we know that the job category that we are looking at have sort of a recognition in other countries. So it's a bit tricky. Now I'm in Australia. Actually, I was working as a trainer in one of the Singaporean companies from Sri Lanka. And then Australian, one of the companies, they sponsored me. They request me to come and work for them. So I came in a different way, and they worked for my visa and all that. But if you are interested, you can go to here. You can search for ANSCO. ANSCO is a sort of the system in Australia and New Zealand to categorize job requirements. So they have different categories: medium term, short term, and long term. Just look at ANSCO to see what is the current status in your job. Now, if you search for ANSCO cybersecurity, I just downloaded this one. So there are a number of professions here. So those are actually, it gives you understanding about what type of category. For an example, analyst programmer. So the description of work is this, right? Chief Information Security Officer, Computer Networking and Systems Engineer. So likewise, there are number of classification and categorization. So there, you can give, go ahead and have a look at ANSCO. So this is actually a nice way to understand what is the current requirement. Now, for example, now earlier IT was huge demand, but IT is not a single or smaller area, but it has to do with a lot of other areas as well, right? So it can be software engineering, it can be programming, it can be analyst programming, it can be security, it can be digital forensics. So then you can specifically search here, then it would show you for now, because it's keep on changing. It would show you, okay, for this job, we have a long-term requirement. So that's what it says. So if you have long-term requirement category, you are eligible to apply visa and you can, get even a PR or permanent residency and all that. So these are some of the stuff, because you are asking these questions. So that's the reason I'm just talking about those stuff. And yeah, and then when it comes to opportunities, even with the COVID situation, even without COVID situation, there are so many opportunities for, correct people. Correct people in the sense you need to know what you are claiming. Now, let's say if you are a software engineer, you would need to know the areas that they expect you to know. If you are a networking guy, and also don't just sort of compare your work with your colleagues or your friends. I'll tell you a story, right? So when we were in uni, right, I was actually a batch top, right? And then first 10 were given opportunity to select our industrial training or the training companies. First 10 would receive that, others didn't get, right? So everyone selected larger companies, banks, and all that. But I selected a fairly medium level organization because I wanted to learn, not to earn, right? So some people were looking at, all right, I want to go to government job because end of the day I would get my pension. In order to get pension, guys, you need to wait for 50 until you get 55, right? So if I'm looking at that kind of a job, that's fine because I'm sort of older than you, right? But if you are looking just after university to get a government job, your total sort of sole intention of getting government job is getting paid without doing anything, because just the general understanding is if you get a government job, you can get a lot of leave, a lot of holidays, and you can just go to work and just do something and just come back, but you will get a salary and job security is really good, and then you will get pension. Those are actually myths in our society, right? So you can earn just by working for private organization for 10 years or 5 years, same amount that you would receive after 55 years. There are so many opportunities, right? So just tap it, right? So, and then what happened was, in my university, being a batch top, I selected a smaller company and others selected stuff. And I joined as a junior systems administrator for 3,000 allowance. I'm just sharing this with you, nothing to do with my, all this history. But there were a few questions asking how I become, I came through my career path, because as I said, I'm from Galle. I went to Richmond College Galle, and then it's not easy to come to Colombo and just settle in and to travel other countries as well. So that's why I think people asking how I came to this here, yeah, right, all this the path, because that can be helpful for you as well. So that's the reason I'm just taking your time to explain this, because of the question that they asked, right? And then what happened was I learned a lot, because it's a small company and we work for multiple organizations. And pretty much I was handling all the networks there and larger networks. And I started my work at 7 o'clock. And then sometimes when I go back home, it's like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, because so many areas to look at. And also the good thing was I learned a lot, right? By my, after, first year as a trainee, and they offered me as a systems administrator, junior systems administrator. By spending 1 year with hard work, I understand, so many stuff, and I was really comfortable working with Exchange servers, all these routers, switches, and the networking and all that. While others, my other friends, they started working with banks, and when you go to work in a bank, you will get really limited access to the network. Even your background is networking, but you will not, get to access routers and switches. You have very limited area to work because it's a very secure environment. But at that time, nobody told me that, but I don't know, with my instincts, I selected that. I don't know why. And then I learned a lot, and then I got an opportunity from HSBC Bank in Sri Lanka. It's really, rare opportunity. At that time, I'm just comfortable with that. And during my internship, I did my MCSC in 2000 server to become Microsoft Certified Solutions Engineer at that time. End of my industrial training, 6 months, and plus 6 months. Within 1 year, I completed my MCSC. Plus, I learned a lot, got really good knowledge, because most of the large organizations were our clients at that time. So I spent a lot of my time, and I was getting very small salary. I didn't, ask for any raise. And eventually they have given me a better salary, not good one, but better than 3,000 rupees, something more. And then after 3 years of the organization, then HSBC offered me a job there as a systems engineer. And I started working there. And then at that time, I understood that, if you are an IT guy, right, IT person, and if you are IT profession, if you are working in a same organization more than 2 years, 3 years maximum, you'll start losing. Because even though you are working for a largest organization in the world, the area that you work is really limited. After 2 years, there is nothing to learn, right? So if you want to learn more, you need to change change the organization. I was working for HSBC, and I just leave my job in HSBC. I think I'm the first one in IT department to leave the job in HSBC. And my father stopped talking to me for a few weeks because he's a government servant, and he can't believe that I left the job in HSBC Bank because it's a very higher privileged job. You get a vehicle, sort of not vehicle only for me, it's like shared transport, but they pick me up and drop me there, and a lot of other opportunities in HSBC. But eventually I left the job there, right? So these stuff probably, I don't know, nobody told me that to how to just do this and that. But with your instincts, you need to follow the path what you want. Actually, it's don't limit to your earnings, your salary, because whatever the salary you would receive, you will be impressed only the first month, right? So the first month I received 50,000 salary, I was like, very happy. But from the next month, it's general, right? It's every month you are getting bloody 50,000. And then if you, for the first time, if you receive 100,000 salary, then you are really happy to have that. Probably you will leave one organization which you had 75,000 rupees per salary. And then when you move, you get 85,000. You are really happy. You are impressed, but only for the first month. After that, you're getting same salary every month, right? So then it wouldn't impress you anymore. Because of that, just take my word, don't go after only the salary, because your salary would impress you only the first month. And after that, you will have 1,000 things to do in the same salary, and then you would need more. That's how it is. Even if you get 1 million salary, 1 million per month rupees, it would be the same. And probably you would be thinking, if I have 1 million rupees per month, I can do so many stuff. That would be enough for me for 1 month, 1 year, or 2 years, 3 years. I thought the same when I was there. I was getting $3,000 rupees, as a junior systems administrator trainee. And then I saw accidentally one of the software engineer salary, it was 40,000. I was like thinking, what he's doing for 40,000. I'm talking about, talking this about, 2002. In 2002, 40,000 is really, really, huge salary. So I was thinking what this guy is doing with 40,000. But after, I think about 1 year, I also reached the same level. Then I understood, it's like, you have 1,000 things to do with your 40,000 salary. So that's how it is. So because of that, just don't focus on there as well. So since we are just just talking about other stuff as well, so you need professional qualification and the knowledge. And also, guys, please remember to improve your language skills as well. So you need to market yourself, right? So and I also did the same mistake, I'm telling you. And I was actually a technical guy. Probably you are also the technical guys. Here we have sometimes network technical guys and software engineers and all that. And mostly you are not from Colombo. There can be certain guys from Colombo, certain girls from Colombo, but mostly we are from Anuradhapura, Colombo, sorry, Anuradhapura, Matara, Kandy and all that. So then without improving our language skills, you can't reach your goals and dreams, right? So even though we spent 13 years to learn English, even I couldn't talk properly when I was started my first job. That is really, really, disadvantage, right? So that's in a way, the people from Colombo has this advantage because they have to deal with people using the language English. So you need, without improving that, you can't present you. So if you are in a meeting, you can't talk if you don't know how to talk in English. It's a great disadvantage for you, right? So whatever you do, you can be a software engineer, you can be a systems engineer, right? You can be whoever, but without the language, a proficient language, or up to expected level of proficient, you will not be able to present you. Because otherwise what will happen is you will do the work, someone else will present and they will get the advantage. So that happens to me as well. So I did all the hard work, but some people presented for me and they got the sort of recognition, identity, and they got raises, they got the the career advantages and all that. So that we need to know, especially with other skills. So academic education would give you understanding on concepts and fundamental stuff. Professional education would give you hands-on and knowledge, experience, working with different tools, and you need a better presentation skills, especially the language. Don't worry talking to people. Don't worry, make mistakes in English, the language. Try to present. Some people will laugh, but eventually they will not laugh. Since this is a good platform, I would like to tell you one more thing. When I was working as a junior systems administrator, there was a guy, a marketing guy. He's presenting in front of 10 clients about one of the products, right? So I was thinking how this guy is doing that, how this guy is presenting this presentation in front of 10 people, and they're asking questions too, right? At that time, even after the uni, we didn't know how to manage in language. Language skills were very minimum and limited for us. But now we are doing the same because we went through a lot of hardship to improve all that. So that's how it is. And then I did my Microsoft certifications and other certifications as well. And then I got an opportunity to work as a trainer. And guys, if you can become a trainer, even I can help you, Microsoft training and other stuff. So this is a really, really important, nice area, and you will get a lot of opportunities traveling around the globe. As of now, I traveled around 20 or more than 20 countries. And all this, traveling, I never spent a single rupee, because for my job to train people, they got me here and there, even to Australia. So I'm the only trainer in Australia, I think, from Sri Lanka. I'm the only trainer. Work with various other institutions, even training government, Australian government, local government people, and then so many other layers. So in order to do that, you also can do the same. I didn't do any magic. what I did was I was completing my professional studies, qualification, and also to have proper knowledge. Because what I've seen is some of the people, I'm not saying everyone, when they do a Cisco, what they would do is they just cram it, and then they just remember the questions. They have question database, they just remember it, just go and get the certificate. That will do the maximum damage to you. That's fine, just go through, prepare for the expected questions, that's fine. But you need to have proper knowledge. If you don't have knowledge, you have only the certificate, you are doing something, something bad for the certification as well. To the people who has a certificate with the knowledge and you have only the certificate, and then if you are given a task to do and you wouldn't do it or you couldn't do it, then you will be identified as a, someone who cannot do something. And then the people who has the same certificate will be treated in the same way. So then along with your certification, have knowledge as well. And then I got one of the things when I was working as, then I started as a sort of assistant trainer. And then after a few sessions training, they asked me to conduct training for them. And I got some international accreditation as well. I was the first, I think, EC Council instructor in Sri Lanka, first accredited EC Council instructor to conduct certified ethical hacker program. Because earlier there were people coming from Malaysia to conduct certified ethical hacker course. Now I'm one of the instructors or certified instructors. I got it in 2013. At that time, I was the first instructor to conduct certified ethical hacker program. So after that, I got an opportunity in Singapore company to look after 12 countries: Cambodia, Vietnam, Singapore, Malaysia, not Malaysia, Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, Myanmar, Bangladesh, 12 countries. So I was frequently traveling to conduct Microsoft training and certified ethical hacker, EC Council training and some of the consultation. And then after that, I got some, projects from Microsoft to conduct some training for Microsoft. And then finally, and what happened was I just frequently updating this in my LinkedIn, right? So it's not something that you need to post your, the food or something like that, like your Facebook, just to have very good professional profile in LinkedIn. That helps you a lot. And, believe me, I got so many opportunities of LinkedIn, right? So I got, including this one, they reach me, this Australian company reached me and asked me if I can come and work for them. That is directly LinkedIn, right? So apart from that, I got so many other opportunities from there. So have really good professional page, professional LinkedIn account, and don't expose everything, but just have very good interaction there. That also will help you to become sort of a professional and connect with professionals. So if you are in networking, just connect with multiple companies, the people who has good background with the networking, and all these people. And if you are in software engineering, you can connect with all the Virtusa kind of companies. Then you update it. You know what is the technology, right? So, and if you are in IT, even though you believe or not, or like or not, you need to learn every day, because otherwise you will not be required for IT. That happens to me. Still I'm learning, still I'm studying, still I'm taking exams. So that has become sort of a, otherwise you wouldn't know what's the current status, right? So now if I teach Azure and Microsoft 365 training, and some cases this week I will talk about something, and next week there is an entirely different thing they have introduced. They may introduce, and interfaces can be different entirely. So because of that, you need to be with the the technology. You need to learn properly, and you need to update your skills, and then you can do a lot. And then don't worry about the job opportunity. If you know what you are doing, right, and if you have a professional, if you are professionally and academically qualified, you don't have to worry about job market. It's there. It's always there for correct people. That's the thing. So if you don't know, then you are not getting the job. And also, if you are rejected for job, keep on applying, right? And also the next next thing that you would do is our people, you create or draft a CV, and you forward the same CV to all the jobs. Then it wouldn't work in that way. So whenever there is job advertisement, you need to customize your CV according to the advertisement. I'm not saying that you need to provide fake information. You need to provide your genuine information, but to the according to the requirement. Let's say they are asking for a systems engineer, and then they are expecting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 facts. Then you need to highlight from your CV according to their requirement. Because how can we expect them to call you for an interview? The sole objective of sending your CV is to get you an interview. That's it. Because CV wouldn't give you a job. Some people, they put everything but totally irrelevant to the vacancy advertisement. So that's why you're not getting job. So what you want to do is just have a draft CV, and whenever you send an application, first you need to customize your CV according to their requirement. Just do it and see. You would get a call for an interview for each CV you're sending out. But what we do is just we forward the same email with even FW letters. You just forward it to everyone, so everybody knows. Then this guy is forwarding same thing to everyone, and he's desperate for a job, right? So if you are qualified, if you are knowledgeable, so many jobs are there. And the good thing is now you don't have to actually plan even migrating, because so many IT jobs open that you can work remotely, right? And then if you're planning to come to Australia, New Zealand, Canada, their taxes are really, really high, right? So if I show you, I showed you earlier the ANSCO, and if I show you this one, Australia pay calculator, right? So this is the Australian pay calculator. Let's imagine, let's go to pay calculator. Earlier I demonstrated getting 74,000 for a security specialist in Australian dollars, right? So if you calculate 74,000 annual salary, see this, your pay would be monthly $4,800, right? Annually 59,000. Now if I click include superannuation, it's something like EPF and ETF in Sri Lanka. So if you click on that, you will only get 4,400, right? And then your taxable tax would be this one, $1,153 will be taxed. So 1,100, somewhere around 140,000, 140,000 rupees every month as a tax, right? Remember, if you are working for this kind of countries, you will have to pay this tax, right? So now, but there are certain, if you are working remotely, but still, if you are in a Australian pay structure or payroll, then you will be charged this tax, right? And at the same time, if you come to Australia, there are so many other expenses. If you are renting a house, you will have to pay around 200,000 rupees, 2 lakhs. And then the tax, 140,000 tax. And because these countries are equally expensive, right? So, but from Sri Lanka, you can find ways that you can provide your service. I think that would be the greatest thing that you can do. There are so many these kind of opportunities now already open, right? Because this COVID situation and so many offers are there, right? I don't know in near future there will be job offers to come to these countries and settle in, but in time to come later probably there may be. But what my advice for you is to learn with full effort, and then try to do some professional certification as well, and in the same time get proper understand and knowledge. Just don't have the stuff or the knowledge which is not very sure. So you need to know what you are doing, right? So let's say if you are a Microsoft certified solutions expert, now it's Microsoft 365 administrator expert, for example, you need to know your area. But then if you are comfortable, you have so many other opportunities as well. So the guys, I think I have took you through all the areas that I want to discuss. So I took you through the certificate required, how to start career, cybersecurity, and the job market I explained, and then I explained about how I started and what I'm doing here and all that. So that is actually that is what I want to discuss. I had few other stuff to talk about, but I think this is not the time. I think um, uh, uh, now the time is 3:40, right? So I didn't want to just take you through some of the technical stuff, because you are from different areas. So these are my some of the information. If you want to write it down, if you want to reach me, you have my email address as well. Now I think it's better to because otherwise it will become boring, because I'm just throughout talking, and I think I was talking more than 1.5 hours now. I hope it's informative. And if you have any questions, let's spend this time to answer to your question. Right? Okay. All right. So if you have any questions, please send it over the chat.